I guess us. I don't know why we addressed the internet at the very beginning, because no one's ever... Whatever. Yeah, we're here for another week of D&D. And this group is gonna probably get into a mess. We'll have fun here. So, we are actually going to pick up pretty much exactly where we ended last week, but for a quick recap. Boon's bounty having gone into Barovia at the behest of a mysterious stranger that informed Clive that his quarry would be waiting there for him, descended down some tunnels, going through this haunted nest-like area in search of something beneath the barren earth. Finding the small village of Stonehaven, the group found a old member of Clive's village displaced for some years now, or I guess about, not some years. As far as Clive is concerned, about a year. As far as he's concerned, a few months. He spoke to them that the vampire lord that Clive has been hunting reigns over this village of Stonehaven. But the village is dwindling quickly. With this in mind, the group realized that they are unable to simply kill Lord Harkin, as he is also protecting this rapidly dwindling village of humans. These humans are the last vestiges of humanity alive in Barovia. They went to go speak to the, not village elder, but oldest person alive in the village, a woman by the name of Agatha.
I think that's what a village elder is.
Yeah, but she doesn't have any, like, ruling status. She's just old. Yeah. Yeah. She spoke to them briefly about what they wished to do, and with the party unsure, they did learn that Lord Harkin lives inside of a manor near the outskirts of the village, and he is currently away, and there is no telling when he'll be back. The group then left Agatha behind, deciding to go perhaps scout out the manor. Along the way, John, their guide, was informed by a group of men that looked somewhat formidable that some children have gone missing. And were last seen heading out of the village into the southern tunnels. Going up, the group decided to assist in this search for the children, tracking them to the entrance of the massive southern tunnel that leads out of the village. The group then offered to help and left. Leaving the village behind, the group embarked into the depths of the haunted tunnels once more. Heading through these dark tunnels, they were surrounded by a distant growling and shifting of things best left unseen as far as they were concerned. Following the only path available to them, they passed by several hollowed out hollows with what looked to be living quarters built up inside of some of these little holes. Eventually, you guys reached a staircase, and ascending the staircase, you found yourselves surrounded by a pack of ghouls. However, these ghouls seem somewhat pacified compared to the past. A brief investigation shows you that they were busy eating some rotten fruit of some sort, and this allowed you guys to swiftly dispatch them before any cry of help could be put out or you were noticed at all, really. Moving on, you came upon the city of Moonhaven. It was a broken city shrouded in pale moonlight that fell from the pockmarked ceiling of the massive cave that it's within. Descending into the city, the party roamed the streets for a time, always keeping a massive looming chapel in their sight, sort of heading towards it at all times. You then heard what sounded like a scuffle between childlike voices, or not childlike, but young voices. Rushing over to this sound, you found teenagers getting into a little slap fight outside. They introduced themselves as Leah and Ron, and they were here with their other friend Joseph, who had gone into this cathedral in search of something. So you entered the cathedral looking for Joseph. Immediately you saw that books were strewn about the empty hallway, or the empty passageways that flanked you entering. But what really drew your attention first and foremost was a single beam of moonlight falling into the center of the room onto a book. Kess and Navori approached and were able to determine that it was a holy relic of some sort. Cautiously they approached, feeling some kind of panic tugging at their hearts. Sybil suddenly came up and touched the book.
Hell yeah, she did.
She was quickly repelled by a field that protected this holy relic, but she was also possessed by some kind of spiteful spirit that caused her to lash out against her group, eventually turning belligerent and angry.
She was feeling nasty and she wanted to commit a crime.
Kess also touched the book and, unlike Sybil, got very violent. Meanwhile, Minnow had remained near the entrance, guarding the teenagers and keeping them out of harm's way, and also getting stabbed by Sybil. Clive had gone off in his own direction to investigate some of the books when he heard the sound of a scuffle. Poking his head out, he was immediately accosted by Kess. Maria didn't stray from her goal. Wandering deeper into the cathedral, she found herself all but...
Nothing, continue.
Heading into the cathedral, Maria found herself surrounded by pale spirits that were seemingly uncaring about her, going among their dead business, ignoring her as long as she didn't bother them. Investigating down the hallways, Maria found there was a small room with a steady glow coming from it. Within was a mousy-haired individual swathed in heavy robes.
Child.
Yeah, she kicked open the door and scared him with the declaration of child. This frightened the poor creature, who introduced himself as Joseph. Joseph and Maria returned to the party where they found Sybil and Kess still kind of going at it and just being angry with the party. Kess almost hit Boon, and the sheer shock of almost hitting sweet, sweet Boony Boy caused her to have a moment of clarity where she repelled the angry spirit that had possessed her. Sybil got slapped. Sybil got slapped, and that took it out.
I think I did 1 hit point, if I recall.
Yes.
Yeah. A whole one after getting thrown.
Joseph chastised the group for touching this book, but he was also seemingly thankful. Kess flipped the table and put the book on the ground. Put his Yeah, she threw it on the ground. However, Joseph asked that the group remain for a time while he performed a ritual to release the book from its binding of sorts. So he kneeled in front of it and for about 10 minutes murmured prayers to someone he called the Moon Maiden.
Be a thought.
Damn.
Brutal.
When his ritual finished, the book was no longer encased in its protective shell. Scooping it up, Joseph looked to the party and gave a nod. You seemingly good to leave. So we're picking up there. You guys are all kind of grouped around at the entrance of this cathedral now. Joseph standing nearby with the book just curled up against his chest. Against his smaller frame, it's pretty big. It's not like a book-sized book. It's kind of a like an almanac tome-looking thing. And he just looks at you guys, holding the book close to his chest.
Are we ready to go back?
Navori kind of looks around and she's like, are all these books related to the Moon Maiden?
I don't know, really. Perhaps it's a lot, so it might just be some learning stuff. I'm not really keen on looking through all the books. He gestures over to a bunch.
She's like, you didn't come across anything that, happened to detail when the Moon Maiden first became a deity, did you?
Oh, that's sort of what this book's about.
Oh, really?
At least I think so, yeah. It's the whole origin story and stuff.
Okay, well, I'm really curious about that.
Alright, well, this probably isn't the place to
Yeah,
read
no,
it.
it's fine. I was just curious before
okay.
we leave. Yeah, we're going now, right?
I'm good if you guys are, and
Yeah,
the other teens are like, yeah, let's go.
Sybil's like, I'm not sure if good is the word for it. And as she's doing that, by the way, she is adjusting her titties, but in a really awkward way, like trying to stuff them back into the corset.
When they're leaving, Navori's gonna go over to Minnow and she's gonna be like, "Are you okay? You need like some bandages."
Who stabbed you?
Sybil looks out into the distance.
Accident. And that's like her answer for that as she like casually shrugs, but
Maria looks over at the teenagers. Did one of you do it?
Oh yeah, no, we know who did it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Alright.
and like she probably has like scrap cloth that she's just like wrapping the wound with, but she seems fine. But she's very put off by what happened.
Navori kind of squints at it. It looks okay, right?
Oh yeah, she's got this.
That's questionable.
To be fair, it was more of a slice than a stab. She isn't walking around with like fish stigmata,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Navori kind of nods, but she gives Minnow a look of, like, that look of, if you need anything, let me know kind of look.
And Minnow will give her like an awkward thumbs up, like she just learned what that means.
How do you do, fellow children?
Yeah, Navori gets like a half smirk, and then she goes out. Temple.
Okay. Is everyone just heading out of the cathedral?
Hurting the children, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you said hurting.
She's got her shepherd's
like,
crook out.
please.
Joseph gives the other two kids the little hope none of you are hurt, and they just kind of snort and move a little quicker than him, leaving him behind, and he just hope you guys got your fruit still. And Leah turns back and, yeah, I'm fine, I got some. And they nod and look to you guys, and you lot know the way out, right?
Maria looks at Boon.
Sybil looks at Clive.
Yeah, we know the way back.
Oh, good. We can probably, if there's any of the ghouls, we can throw them off, but, well,
I mean,
it's
we
easy
can
to get
also
lost.
beat them up if we need to.
That's a bit bad, but okay. I'm sure you've noticed that hurting them tends to draw more.
And we need to protect these children on the way back to the village.
Yeah, let's not do that whole thing where we get the whole entire cave of them following us again. Yeah.
We already kicked up one hornet's nest this week.
Guess doesn't look like she sees why that's a problem.
The kids just, you guys really killed a bunch, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that's frightening.
And
This
the bone.
huge-
Yeah, there was this like big
Skeleton
old
snake.
skeleton snake, and it had legs though, which was weird.
Ron
And
and,
then there
Leah
was this
visibly
worm
quake.
guy. We didn't fight him though. He was just creepy.
I mean, it didn't seem that scary. Cass more or less took its head off in one hit.
The worm man, or
No. We didn't touch
Oh.
that guy.
okay.
Yeah, no, the
Um,
skeleton snake. Cass is really powerful.
Well, she's
Sybil
quite
looks at
large
Cass
and
like she's
intimidating.
expecting Cass to flex, but or more like she wishes, but she can't expect it.
Cass misses the cue because that's how she is.
Joseph is just kind of nodding along. Like, sense. Giant skeleton snake checks out. So you guys take some time to head on out. The kids trying not to get too distracted, but sometimes you see them peering down some of the empty streets, trying to look for things or look like they're looking for things, as if they're trying to not look scared and useful, but they're scared.
Yeah, no worries. Just like, do you usually get like other things creeping around here?
Well, we don't come here all that often, and I mean, ghouls ain't the only thing down here.
Oh yeah. Well, we found that out.
Well, we feel safer with you, knowing that you smashed some ghoulies. They're awfully hungry this time of the year.
Why this
Well,
time
are
of
they
the
ever
year?
not hungry?
This time of the year is because, well, I guess it's all times of year. We like to say this time of the year to make it a little bit nicer, yeah?
Oh, I see. It's like the weather.
Boris just starts laughing.
The what?
It's like the weather. You know, it's cloudy today. It's chance of ghouls. Yes. Never mind.
You've been on the ground for a while though.
Yes, it just occurred to me. I'll stop talking.
Right. Okay. Yeah, let's go. So you guys take about 20 minutes to head out of the city. Clive and Boon, you get turned around once or twice, but not enough to really get lost. Just to wait, where are we going? It's only when you cross through the beams of moonlight that you're really able to get your bearings, since the rest of the city is pretty much dark. But within those 20-ish minutes, you do make your way back up to the tunnels. You spend some time slowly making your way through these tunnels. Who has light?
Maria does.
I don't think
child.
Clive ever dropped his torch, so you should still have.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Minnow still has the adopted.
I just want to say for flavor at some point, Sybil's like, hey, let's play a game. I spy with my little eye something gray.
Everything.
No, but like more specifically.
The cave.
Oh, shit, you're right. You got it.
Joseph looks up at you, Maria.
Mm.
Is she always...
Yes,
Okay.
but that's why we like her.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. All right.
You get used to it.
Sybil sparkles a little bit.
All right. I need Clive. I need you to make a nature check.
Oh,
Do it with advantage since Boon will be helping you.
okay.
Guys, I usually don't link unrelated
Oh,
images,
dear.
but
Oh,
Oh,
good.
Nailed it.
Okay.
Is that growling sound coming out of the...
Yeah.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. I was like, I wasn't sure because it's coming. I'm wearing half my headset.
it's
so, like, it was
inside
coming-
your house.
it was coming from the direction of my window.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
god.
coyotes out there.
Whoa.
Like,
Bad feeling.
Yeah, that'd be
Ooh.
bad. All right. So It takes you quite some time to make your way back to the room with a staircase. You get turned around a few times heading down tunnels that you previously didn't know were there. It's just Boone and Clive. You guys get pretty turned around, all things considered. It's pretty easy to get lost down here.
Cass can also track.
No, we got the two that were leading the way.
Hey.
Sorry. But you do get your way back. It does require you to stop on occasion as you hear the sound of something passing in front of you. Something large and just making growling or snarling noises. You hear the not so soft sound of something snuffling around, getting just beyond the torchlight. Those of you with dark vision are able to see the brief outline of something dirty and bone-colored,
Oh,
edging up
good.
against the light.
Don't
But
like that.
you guys tell everyone to hold up, and
Yeah.
it pulls away pretty quickly, seemingly not having caught your scent or anything. You do find your way back to the staircase room, and it's here that Joseph just... Oh, good. All right. Let's, give me a second to put down some fruit. It'll stop them from following us down here. And still clutching the book to his chest, he turns and roots around in a sack that was hidden underneath his robes. Starts pulling out fistfuls of something that smells sweet and heaty.
Disgusting.
Yeah. And he holds out a fistful of something, and hey, you want to help? It'll go by quicker.
Sure.
He slaps down a fistful of rotten goop in your hand, Avori, and in yours, Clive, and just go spread it around some of the walls. It'll keep our scent away from them. They get real distracted by the sweetness, I think.
Well, Navari doesn't even flinch when there's goop in her hands.
Yeah, Clive's used to getting messy.
She goes and does this thing.
It's real fun that the adults don't think this works, and we get in trouble for wasting this, but I don't know. It's always done us right.
How do you get in? Wait, do you eat this?
I mean, sometimes, yeah.
Well, they probably ferment it, yeah?
No,
guess.
probably not. You know what? If you guys got any, like, food that's going bad or something, I can make it better for you. Just, like, direct me to that, you know, wherever it is.
Oh, that'd be nice. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure John or Agatha will be able to direct you. But come on, let's go. And Joseph hops down the stairs, taking them like two at a time, almost getting caught in his very large robes once or twice, and he
Trying to be cool, but
yeah. It's rapidly very clear that these robes do not belong to him, or if they do, they're like a blanket wrapped around him, more or less.
Jesus.
But you guys go back down these stairs, and you find yourself in that one straight, large tunnel now. It's impossible to get lost here as far as you're concerned, or you're aware, as you walk, and it's narrow enough that there aren't any ways you can see that are offshoots to the sides. It's basically just a straight shot. And this is also where the walls have little carvings into them, where people can, or where people look like they might have once lived or stayed. It takes the better part of an hour to make your way all the way through these tunnels, maybe a little bit more, before in the distance you see the villager Stonecross. Down at the bottom of a giant bowl like valley. It's dark, but still barely lit by the sight of little orange flickering flames throughout the village, and the kids all give a heavy sigh of relief as you guys pass through the membrane-like barrier that seemingly keeps all of the undead out of the village proper.
The abjuration milk skin.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Hate that.
Yeah.
Can I make another Arcana check as we pass through, as
Yeah.
if getting possessed
Yeah,
helped me?
Navori's gonna be like, we need to like check this out in detail sometime.
Yeah, go ahead and make your Arcana checks.
Cool.
Hey, poke at
I
it.
got possessed and I'm a better person for it. I've learned a lesson.
Get a load of this.
6.
Whoa. Somehow. Jesus.
All right. Sybil, you're like, I'm a better person.
Wow, I've really learned my lesson, thinks Sybil in her inner monologue.
Navori, you don't really get much more than you did prior about this. It's some kind of membrane-like abjuration spell that is large.
She would be specifically looking for like runes or points of like that look like, hey, this is a magic sort of beacon, or you know, like a what's the word I'm
Yeah.
trying to use? Yeah, whatever.
You don't find anything unlike what you saw before.
Okay.
As in, you don't find anything.
Yeah.
Maria,
Mm-hmm.
as you pass through, you feel sort of like a little ping in the back of your neck. It's a little uncomfortable, and your attention is drawn off to Harkin's Manor, which does loom over the village.
Oh yeah, she just
Very
stops in place
dramatically.
and like swivels towards it like a compass needle in that case. Just fucking stops and stares.
Yeah, you don't have any context or anything. You just know that something drew your attention there,
Yeah.
and it's a little annoying.
Okay.
Navori kind of looks. She stops staring at nothing on the ground. Looks at Mario and is like, "What?"
I felt something at the back of my neck, and I think it's. I don't know. I'm looking at where Harkin's Manor is. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's over there.
Mm.
Yeah, it's still there last I checked.
You think it poked you?
Oh no, I was investigating the barrier. I don't want to think about how I was doing that. Never mind. I just felt something going through the thing.
Well, it makes sense if that was like the center, you know, where it sort of originates from, I guess.
Right.
Navori says as though she knows anything about magic.
Mario
I
doesn't
mean, that
disbelieve
does
her.
check out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes enough sense to me.
So we gotta break down the manor.
Oh,
Navori
Tim,
just kind of whispers.
Don't tempt me.
I mean, that was. Never mind, there's children around.
The kids are a little bit down the path. They're more confidently heading ahead of you now, since they're basically
they
home.
know where they are now.
They are looking around surreptitiously, like they're trying to avoid the attention of adults. But you guys do see 3 men clad in shoddy leather armor approaching, hands on their hips, where rusty swords hang.
So
you see
in dad
John at the
stance.
forefront. Yeah. And you see Joseph
Dad
pull up
stance
short.
activate.
God.
Joseph kind of takes a few steps back to you guys and looks over his shoulder. He's about 20 feet away from you. And he backs closer to you guys and... Oh, thank you so much for saving me, brave adventurers. Without
Yeah, we
you,
look really
I would have surely perished.
Mario's like looking over her shoulder.
The poor is just like, she sort of snickers.
You saved us from the tunnels.
Yeah, try to stay out of trouble next time.
Oh, we will, sir. We totally didn't go anywhere. Tunnel.
Oh, yes. No, they were very tunnely tunnels.
John, by this point, has gotten close enough to... I see y'all brought him back. And his little friends too. You got my thanks.
Yeah.
He didn't give you no trouble, right?
Oh no, that was
No,
obvious.
not at all. They're good kids.
Leah and Ron are just fucking gone. They booked it the second they saw the guys coming up in Dad's stance. And two of the dudes, they just shake their heads and peel away and start following the kids at a leisurely pace. Like they know where those kids are going.
You know where
They'll
they
get
live.
there eventually. And John turns to watch this and then looks back to you guys and then to Joseph and, boy, why'd you go back out there? And Joseph just shrugs and looks away and, none of your business, John. Just none of your business.
Wow.
He looks back at you, Sybil. Looks at John and I'm gonna go see Agatha now. I'm sure she's worried about me. John just rolls his eyes and gestures and alright, you get. Glad you're safe, little shit. And Joseph skitters away and John looks at you guys. Right, you got my thanks. Saving
Yeah, no
those
problem.
kids, they're little shitheads. You know what they were doing out there?
They were enacting their youthful wanderlust. I mean,
Being
that's what I did, and I became an adventurer.
You know how kids are.
like children.
Yeah, I guess I do. Strange seeing that all these other folk are all broken and sad, and then you got those kids running around like they got gooses on their asses.
Maria's really
Wow.
working that one over in the back of her head.
Got you.
Like literal gooses?
Yeah, she's just like, Seems bad.
Development that I did not expect.
Life in Barovia is fucking rough.
Alright, well, y'all got any more plans, or what's the idea here?
You know. Wait. You guys have any food that's going bad?
Oh, I mean, yeah, we've always got food that's going bad.
I can make it not go bad if you like.
He squints at you.
Yeah, I can do
What?
that.
What do you mean?
I mean, I have an ability that makes bad food not bad anymore. Good is new.
Make a persuasion roll.
Okay. Let's see. 22. She finally gets to use her persuasion.
He looks skeptical and then nods and right, yeah, alright. If you want to come with me, that'd be great. How about the rest of y'all?
Do you have other things that need doing around this place?
We always got something that needs doing, whether it's fields being dug up, new fence posts being put up.
Did you
Agatha
guys
might
eat
also.
shit, Max?
No, I just kicked my space heater. You would hear if I ate shit. I'm not just gonna
It
silently
sounded like
fall
you
over.
ate shit.
Just fall over, and that's the last you hear of me.
Oh god!
I mean, what if you die?
There are sounds that accompany death.
Oh my god.
Agatha might be looking for y'all too.
Yeah, I want to talk to her afterwards too.
Let's go see her then. Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a bad idea.
All right, well, you little one with the horns.
Yeah.
You wanna come with me? It shouldn't take more than 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Or
let's
at
do
least
it.
take more than 10 minutes to take you there. Rest of y'all, we'll catch up with you at Agatha's, I guess.
Mm.
And Navori, you and John heading off to a little corner of the village that you guys haven't previously been to. The rest of you guys head on down to Agatha's. You walk down the slope that leads you into the village, passing by the somewhat rickety fence that denotes the beginning or end of the village, depending on which way you're coming. You pass by the fields where you do see individuals tending to what look like mushrooms, strange other plants, maybe potatoes even. Slowly digging things up, the people look just defeated. They're very tired looking at all times. You go into the village proper, passing by some homes that have their doors open, and you do hear the sound of people murmuring. You also hear the occasional laughter coming from some of these buildings where you walk by and you do see, parents with their newborns, it looks like. Despite everything, this is still not thriving, but a living area. Soon enough, you come upon the house that you recognize to be Agatha's. The almost telling door. It's the only one that seems like it's always half open because the door doesn't really fit the frame too well. And you see that the door is half ajar already. And you hear the sounds of conversation coming from within. What do you do?
Well, I guess we're just gonna march on up and knock on the door.
Yeah. Clive's not just gonna barge in, knock
Yeah.
on the door for.
Yeah.
Okay. As you approach, the door swings open just with the small amount of wind you generate by walking. And you see Joseph sitting on the floor, where Agatha's sitting in the same chair that you left her in. She's got a pretty broad smile on her face, and it makes her look like a bulldog almost, with the way her wrinkles droop over her lips. And Joseph is talking quickly and animatedly at her, and she looks up at you guys as you walk in and holds up a hand and, "All right, Joseph, that's enough. I see the folk that rescued you have come to say hello, I suppose." And she gestures for you guys to come in. "Do come in, come in."
And the police sirens that are going off in the distance
Yeah.
also sound off. Joseph's committed a fucking crime.
Yeah.
He's got 3 stars flashing on his HUD right now.
Hurry, shut the door to use aggro.
Maria's gonna go stand in her corner.
Okay, Agatha watches and then
Clive's
looks back
gonna
at you guys and
stand somewhere.
Yeah, Sybil gets on in.
Kess and Minnow coming in too.
Yeah. Let's stand and no
suppose.
sit.
Okay. Agatha watches you guys, and her gaze lingers on Maria for a second before looking back at the rest of you guys, and "I suppose I should be thanking y'all for rescuing Joseph here." And he just chimes in, "They didn't rescue me. I was fine. I found the book, and they touched the book, and that got real dumb from what I understand."
Yeah, absolutely it did.
Not exactly our proudest moment.
I want to know what it did, and then we found out.
What did it do? I didn't get to see, and
Well,
I just saw your friend was bleeding and heard a lot of
I just got
yelling.
really angry. I just felt very belligerent. And that was it, really. Sybil looks to Cass like, how did that go for you?
booze.
Sorry, what?
I said Sybil looks at Cass and goes, "How did that go for you?"
Huh. Cass doesn't answer, which might be more telling than, you know.
Sybil goes, "Great."
Just
Guess-
something you felt the need to act on, yes?
Cass says nothing. That's not why she touched the book. But you can't verbalize it was your superiority complex that compelled you to touch the book to prove to everyone that you were better.
Oh my god.
Damn.
Yes.
Ooh.
It worked out so well for.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really low bar that Cass has set. Like, I gotta prove that I'm better than Sybil.
She wanted to prove that she was better than the book, the God book.
She's got to keep up her mystique that she's this untouchable, unstoppable
It's-
badass.
Obviously false. Like, that mystique has been blown through a couple of times now.
Oh yeah,
She's
No
gotta
one-
compensate because of it, okay?
no one like confronts her on it though because they don't know how she'll react.
Oh, Maria's ready.
No.
She's going to confront her.
Oh.
She's just waiting.
Oh boy.
Not lovingly. She's going to confront her lovingly, which in Maria speak means she's going to talk like a cinder block, and I'm sorry.
I mean, it's fine.
Joseph looks at you, Cass, for a moment before. That bad, huh? Well,
Cass looks at this child.
the child just looks back, undeterred.
Cass eventually gets bored.
Looking at the child.
You
He's a
notice
dumbass
that
kid. He doesn't know fear yet.
Yeah, he didn't look afraid. He just looked kind of curious the whole time. He was like,
Yeah.
"You gonna say something?"
You weird lady.
Yeah.
With like 6 eyes.
Bunch of freaks, yeah.
He holds up the book, which you see he had hidden within his robes, and well, they helped me get this, and that's important because I was really wanting this. And Agatha just grunts. Just,
So,
Exactly is in that book.
yeah.
$1,000,000 question, isn't it?
well, I always thought it was just a storybook. They talked about it over in Moonhaven when I was younger. But from the sound of things, it was awfully protected, so I don't really know what's in it then.
Yeah, it was pretty well guarded for a story.
Well, they call it the Book of the Promise, so it might have something to do with something in Moonhaven. They used to worship things over there before they got torn up, so you know. And Joseph just, yeah, I mean, I just had to go see if it was real, considering the stories that you were always telling, Agatha. You know, making sure us kids always know about the Moon Maiden, and she just, shush, boy.
What about
Exactly.
the maiden?
Who exactly is the Moon Maiden?
Oh, just some old folklore, you know, the stories that you tell kids to try and get them to smile. It's nothing big, but
Consider me a cultural anthropologist. I want to hear the story.
I don't know those words.
Just tell me the story.
All right. Well, it's a story about a husband and a wife. It's, you know, nothing too great. But once, long ago, there was a husband and his wife. A husband and his wife lived in a village that was actually not too far from here, and they lived a happy life. And you see Agatha kind of shifting in her chair to get more comfortable, and as she's speaking, a look of almost serenity falls over her features as she recalls and recites this story. they lived as happy as one could live back in those days. Even back then, it was before we dug underground, but men were still ruled by vampires. Things weren't no different back then, though. The night was long, and things roamed hunting us, and the vampires protected us. They were lording over us humans, and in return, the humans would give someone up in their community for the vampires to feed on. It's what we do now. But there were a lot more people back in those days. And back then, they usually try to take the old, those who were going to be dying anyway, or the sick to stop plagues from spreading. It was all right, not ideal, but
I mean, if you could see Kess's expression, it gets more and more disgruntled as the explanation goes on.
But there was a rule, and the rule was that they wouldn't take a woman. They would only take men if there were no sick or elderly to take, for children were sacred back then, and, well, a woman can only have one child at a time, and well, we all know how many children a man can have at one given time.
None.
Joseph that's not the point, ma'am. Agatha holds up a hand, and since stories are predictable things, it was one of those times when a man was to be taken. Luck would have it that the wife's husband was the one to be given over for payment for this continued protection. But the love was so strong between the husband and his wife that the wife refused to let her husband go, and instead of just accepting the fate, they left the village. And they didn't care for the people they left behind. It's said that
if they were willing to sacrifice me to a vampire. Mutters Kess.
But these two drifted for a time, wandering through dark woods and crossing the cloud-covered plains, hoping to find a new home to hide in, one where the rules might be different, so they wouldn't be parted. After roaming for a very long time, they came on the mountains that border Barovia, and they keep us in check. And with little but hope in their hearts and no options left, the couple disappeared into the mountains. It's said that years later, a husband and his wife came down from the mountains, and they brought with them news of a beautiful land, a message of hope that beyond the mountains was a place where people could live free. It was a beautiful land with trees and a sky that didn't have clouds in it, blues and purples, and a bright yellow star in the sky when the sky was blue, and at night there was the pale silver light that would keep people safe. It was never completely dark out over there. But people didn't believe them. The people they spoke to had always lived in fear. Those who live in fear are often broken. They're broken of spirit, of mind, and of hope. To those people, there had never been better, and there will never be better. And Joseph just sighs and looks off, and yeah, I'm sure y'all see that that's how things are around here. Agatha holds up a hand, and Joseph, be quiet. But nonetheless, the husband and wife roamed the land. They hid between trees, traveling only in the gray light of day. Slowly, and it took a few years maybe, that people began to believe the two. And maybe there was somewhere where people could live free just beyond the mountain. And they say that when the war came, the husband and his wife remained to fight. And the husband wielded the bright yellow light in one hand, and the wife held moonlight in the other, smiting vampires and werewolves and other undead critters. But as time went on, they too died, and Well, that's sort of where the story ends, as far as I know it. These two came over talking about something far away, and people eventually took that lesson to heart, I guess. And no one remembers the husband's name, but the wife became the Moon Maiden, as she spoke a lot about how the moon would keep people safe at night, because it's only in darkness that the undead can roam free. And the folk over in Moonhaven worshipped her, actually. It was why it was called Moonhaven, and they found a way to bring some of her magic and put it in the ceiling. I'm sure y'all saw it, since that's, I know, where Joseph was. And somehow they used this to help protect themselves from the undead. And they constantly spoke of something called a promised land, where they would all go and be free. But, you know, sooner or later the vampires had enough of humans that didn't need their help. And the vampires showed up and tore down the defenses of Moonhaven, and the undead streamed in and tore the city apart. And I guess Joseph here wanted that book, which is supposedly the story of what I just said. And Joseph just, yeah, but it was protected. It's a holy book of some sort, ain't that right? And he looks back at you guys holding the book up.
If the people learn some of that moon magic, I guess maybe some of it's in that book.
Joseph just, his eyes light up, and he immediately flips open the book and starts leafing through it. And as he does so, his eyes crease and he frowns, and I don't know if there's any magic in here. He just flips it faster and faster.
There's times I wish Navori was here.
He grunts and closes the book with a snap, and I don't see no magic in there, no jumbled up words. It's just stories, it looks like.
Do you mind if I look at it?
Could
Yeah.
have all of us leaf through it if you don't hang on to it for a while.
I mean, just don't take it nowhere.
I mean, if we do, we'll ask your permission first, of course.
Yes.
Alright, yeah, that'd be good. And Avori, it's actually around now that John leads you back around. You spent some time purifying various piles of food, where it was literally just piled up. There's not been any care taken to make sure it stays fresh. They're just dumping all this different foodstuffs into piles, where you saw that they were also transferring it into buckets or troughs. They clearly don't care about their own food.
Jesus. Yeah, well, she could purify that and any water or drink that they had if it needed it.
Okay.
She'd do whatever she could, and then, yeah, head back.
Okay. Yeah, you pull up to the house where the rest of the group is. Right as the book is being handed off to Maria.
She kind of peeks her head in, is like, ooh! And then she comes in, because she sees everyone else is there. Like, yeah, y'all got some good food here now, instead of all that weird rotting stuff.
Oh, great. I can actually eat dinner.
Yeah! Are you guys looking at that book? I totally want to see it.
Yeah, Mari just crooks her finger and hands it over to Navori. You probably have more experience with this, yes?
Well, maybe. Can she tell that it's still, like, holy and stuff?
Make a religion check.
Alrighty. Where is religion?
Kess, you do want to.
Yeah, 19. There we go.
Sure. What's my religion?
Oh
Okay.
no.
For the record, Cass doesn't look interested in the book.
She doesn't like
Okay.
this moon person.
These
Um,
moon runes.
I haven't heard that in years.
Mm,
Wow.
deep cut. Deep internet
Yeah.
cut.
Navori, yeah, this is still very much a holy relic of some sort. It gives off a cold but welcoming feeling.
Yeah, she's just like, oh yeah, this is like definitely some sort of holy relic. Like, is this moon maiden a goddess? Because that's sort of what I'm getting.
Apparently Moonhaven believed she was. Yes.
Well, then I guess she sort of became that for them, didn't she? Sort of looks at Cass as though, is that how this works? Like, she's still trying to figure out how you become a god, so. She's
Cass
like,
gives a non-committal shrug.
she has this sort of, her eyebrows sort of narrow, and she has this look like very helpful.
Cass is stubbornly refusing to be of any use.
I mean, she's not the best person to ask, guys. Her god is dead. Or at the very least absent.
Mm-hmm.
So she's just like, you might have had looked through this. Like, you said that the origins of how she became a goddess were in here.
That's what I thought, but it's just kind of retell. Or what I saw was just retelling the story of the Moon Maiden, not necessarily how she became all goddess-like or anything.
Oh, you
That
shit! This book is freaking huge.
Cass gestures at the book and she's like, there is not going to be some hidden story on how she acquired godhood. That happens when people's faith makes it so.
Oh.
The story of how she became a goddess is her story.
Perhaps we might get lucky and it might contain something about summoning her protection, which might be rather useful for Stonecross.
Yeah.
More than likely, it's hidden in.
Or you could establish a chapel and start praying.
That might take a while.
So I think reading the book is a good place to start.
Yeah, you were able to say a prayer and get rid of the enchantment protecting it, weren't you?
If this thing was protected, it was protected for a reason.
Yeah, I was able to say a little prayer. I didn't know it would work, but it did. So.
It would be telling, in fact, that if vampires are what tore Moonhaven down, the book was still there.
Nabori starts looking through the book to see if anything kind of catches her eye, is insofar as like she looks over the story, but she also is looking for, like, you know, tenets or mentions of, you know, what this deity would do, kind of trying to get an idea of why this book was so protected.
Okay, make another religion check.
Boy. Not as good.
Okay.
Little above average.
You spend some time leafing through it. You don't catch anything regarding tenants. It just seems like it is a collection of stories. All of them pertaining to freedom of some sort, or peoples that have escaped oppression. It seems like it is a book about hope, almost.
Well, Nabori likes it.
And Joseph gestures, and I was hoping it would have some kind of clue on, you know, like where to go or what we could do to be safe.
Well, even if it doesn't, I don't think a message of hope is something that would hurt to be spread around here.
Hmm.
No, that's also why I got the book, because Agatha talked about it a lot, and I remember it made me want to have things better, where all the other adults are, you know, fine with dying slowly.
Navori kind of looks up and is like, well, there are other places than here. Oh, better.
That I was looking too, because I mean, the Moon Maiden and her husband always talked about taking people somewhere.
Yeah.
And well, yeah, I wanna leave these holes behind and well, see what's over the mountains. Proverbial, of course.
Well, that is exactly what I want to do for all of you. If there's a way to do it,
While they're talking, do they still have the map out? Was that at Agatha's or was that what's his face's?
That was at John's.
John's. Okay, Cass is gonna leave, and she's gonna go back to John's, and she's gonna get the map.
Okay. Would Kess bring the map back?
Yes.
Okay. So
Doesn't
yeah,
even ask for it, just takes it.
I mean,
Shows
yeah.
up at Jonathan.
John looks up.
I'm here for the map.
All right, and he just folds the map up and hands it over to you.
Cass takes the map, nods at him, and leaves.
Okay. And a few minutes later, Kess returns with a map of Barovia.
And then she lays the map out, all right, and she starts. She looks it over and she's looking for like landmarks that Jonathan has put on the map, like that were important to for whatever reason.
Okay. Make a perception check.
Sure. It's not investigation.
Uh,
Actually, no. Perception is
yeah.
better.
Yeah, and you're not looking at like specific. You're just looking for marks.
Yeah. One day.
Yeah.
oh no.
Well, I mean, generally speaking, you are just kind of looking over a map, and while you aren't sure if you see them all, you do see that there are fairly large X's on certain spots across this aged, tattered-looking map. It looks very old, and it's hard to believe that the surface world is going to look exactly like this now.
Yeah.
But there are like X's near what looks like the beginning of a forest, and looking this over, you do get a grasp that Barovia is not very large. There are mountains denoted like as a big circle around the area. And
having a better idea of like Barovia as a whole, she's gonna borrow the book from Nave and start reading the book.
Okay.
And she's gonna be paying attention to the stories and the locales that they describe.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Navori would be looking for a repeated, like, mention of a certain place that they were saying they wanted to go. If it was over the mountains continuously, then that's sort of a thing. But if there was like other mention of other places or specifics,
Cass, make investigation with advantage.
Okay. Well,
hey,
Nice. Nice.
Worth
So you spend a bit of time scanning it over, and Navor, you chime in occasionally, pointing excitedly to some passages, and something stands out, and it's a constant reference to something called the Promised Land, and it is constantly said it's over the mountains.
all right.
But there are no hard details on what it actually is.
Yeah. So I'm assuming there are multiple stories about them like venturing from X place to this promised land.
Yes.
Okay. Do any of X places that occur in the stories bear any resemblance to towns in Barovia from the map?
Well, the good part is, one of the towns that they visit, it's frequently most of the stories are variations of this origin story of sorts. But they all tend to begin the same way, and it is them coming back over the mountains and stopping in a certain village by the name of...
Konoha.
What? Why?
I don't know.
Did you just need to
Don't
say
ask
something?
me to explain myself.
Did you just need to let your mouth open and see what happened?
Max,
I just really wanted a Naruto reference.
Max, remember how earlier I was talking about you playing Lead Street Boys over Roll20 to punish
Yeah,
us? This is a good moment for it.
that would be a good moment for it.
I do not. I have not yet listened to that abomination, and I do not intend.
Well, now you just fucking...
It's a good thing I have music turned down on my browser.
The town is called Hearthcross.
That's cool too, I guess.
Huh.
And there is a village with the name Hearthcross written over it, or a location rather. It's hard to say if it's a village or whatnot, but on the map there is a Hearthcross. It's written very vague, or it's written in very small and old letters, but you do make it out now that you're kind of looking for it.
And where is it in
Devori's
comparison to where we are?
We found that. That's the place we came across.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that that sign thing?
It's difficult to find precisely where you are due to the fact that you are now underground. But taking more time to look it over, this map looks like it was drawn during the time when there was Sigillian contact, so the portal does have a presence. It's not a very large, pronounced one, but you look and you find what looks like maybe a portal, like a swirling pattern. And you're able to gather that, this is probably where you came from, so you're able to approximate where you are on the map right now. Hearthcross is not too far from you. The portal is located not in the very center of Barovia, but to the east of it. It's about, on a map, if you're looking to scale, it looks like it would be about 150 miles from the eastern mountain. Hearthcross is about halfway between that, a little bit closer to the mountains.
That's a bit of a hike.
But it's something.
I think it might be worth looking into, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a lead than we've had.
Agreed.
But yeah, if there's a way to get to this place that is mentioned in here, we absolutely want to do it for you. Or get you somewhere entirely different, if possible.
You think that the Promised Land is real? Is that
I
what you're
mean,
getting at?
I mean, I don't know about that one. You guys are being awfully optimistic.
I mean, there's a lot of faith that was put into this person, this Moon Maiden, and it was still there after all of them got wiped out. I mean, they all seem to reference the same thing. It's
Also,
possible that it had some merit.
The husband and wife went over the mountains and came back empowered. Perhaps there is something left.
And even if not, I mean, look, we know this sigil. So...
Yeah, I'm just saying that a lot of time has passed, and maybe things aren't the same as they were anymore. That's a whole lot of stock to put into something that might not be true.
Just out of curiosity, is the portal in the direction of the mountain?
It's a little to the west of where you are right now. So it's a little out of the way, but Yeah.
Look, here's the thing. I don't want to shit on everybody's parade, but I don't think it's a good fucking idea to try to move 100 some odd people to something that might not
the
be
suggestion.
real.
That's not the suggestion.
No.
I was intending to.
If we are going to
Ooh.
investigate it, we investigate it.
Yes.
See
and
if
then
it's
come
there.
back if there's something worthwhile.
Correct.
And if there ain't anything there, we go with our original plan and shove them all with the residuals.
Yes. I think
Inwardly,
independence...
Cass is like, or kill all the vampires, but
See,
I think independence is a better idea than relocation if we can manage it.
it'll
Yeah.
be easier to kill all the vampires if we don't have to protect all of these defenseless people.
Bingo!
God,
Then we can go full nuclear.
I hate this.
I love.
I mean, how y'all gonna get there and back before? I mean, that's a long way to go, ain't it?
Ugh, 75
Yeah, it is,
miles.
and we've got pretty limited supplies, so how do we know that we're not going to starve too?
I can just make stuff, you know? That's a thing I can do too.
Alright, and
Clive-
there's also a whole bunch of ghouls that we can't be fighting willy-nilly.
Clive, like, I can make food. I can make a berry that'll feed you for an entire day.
I can also make food
What?
fucking amazing. At least water.
What are we looking at? A journey of 75 miles approximately? Or more like 150?
All the way to the mountains, it's about 150.
Okay.
Cass shrugs. Consider it a pilgrimage.
It's a couple of weeks there and back, at least.
How are y'all planning on? I mean, Lord Harkin's come.
What?
I mean, she said there's a bunch of ghouls. If there's a, how? I mean,
Speak, child.
uh, roll intimidation.
Oh, sure.
He jumps briefly and then looks at you with like blinking owlishly and. I mean, all right. How are you planning on ever getting all of us across all of that distance if it is
Well,
real?
we don't know
Yeah.
that that's the best idea in any case, but
Well, I mean, we're also, you know, Lord Harkin is kind of gonna be a problem eventually, so. Even though he comes back, then he's almost less of a problem.
All right. So y'all gonna leave us and go see this place and then
Don't-
come back?
we don't know yet.
In most ideal terms, I would say that was what I was gathering too, yeah.
All right.
Nothing else. Maybe we'll find something there if we're lucky. That might help us.
I mean,
Cass-
we do know that portals are possible, so like.
Cass looks at the kid while people are talking. She's trying to gauge something.
Okay.
She's doing an insight check.
Okay.
She's squinting real
Is
hard
she-
at that
yeah.
guy.
Is he worried about something specific? Or is he just worried about them not coming back?
It seems like he is worried about being let down. Right. So, all right. I know how to get y'all at least some of the way there. You don't. He wanders over and looks at the map and. I didn't tell John this, but I know of a tunnel that'll lead you a little closer. I've never been to the surface through it, but I know it'll take you kind of far away from here, and it's probably a bit quicker since it's just a straight shot, as far as I know.
I mean, yeah, that'd be useful.
Do we want to investigate the manor while we have the chance first?
Oh yeah, but like, I figure we should just get all the information we
Mm.
can and then figure out what we're doing, yeah?
Before we embark, yes. Yes.
What?
Cass looks. Well, it doesn't matter how she looks. You can't see her face.
What if she takes her
Is
helmet
it a
off?
super frown or less of a frown or kind of a, like a
How much-
crooked
Give
frown?
me a percentage on the scowl here.
Yeah, it's like a 77%, maybe a 78.5.
Mm-hmm.
But
If you got something on your mind, Cass, you might as well say it.
I'd rather not provoke this Lord Hawken until we are.
You are worried about setting off alarms, perhaps? Fair enough.
Yeah, if anything, it might be better if we leave as soon as we can and make sure the people of the village know to act like we were never here.
Mm.
Oh yeah, there. Well, I mean, at least he's not here right now, right?
So they say.
Yeah.
All right, but like, so what are we doing on our way to this hypothetical, paradisical mountain place? Like, are we gonna go and try to kill every single fucking undead we come across because we seriously almost died, and we really need to take that into account for the sake of our survivability?
My ammunition is also rather limited. We're going to have to think about that as well.
Much as I would like to kill any undead abomination I see, I feel like we need to stay focused on our current objective here.
Find something.
If it
that-
attacks, we attack it. If we
Yes.
don't, we don't pick fights.
Yeah, self-defense is self-defense after all.
Yeah, I mean, what are we gonna do if one of them just keeps following us, trying to kill us? Like, just not do anything? Like, come on.
Okay, let's not apply false equivalencies to what I just said. Like, let's not pick any unnecessary fights, and let's actually try to stay alive, because it'd be really dumb to try to do this and like then get caught up in, ooh, we need to kill undead, but die
Yeah.
and inadvertently perhaps kill a bunch of people in the
I
process.
think we should think of this as a scouting mission. Very quiet.
Agreed.
Move as quickly and as quietly as we can.
Cass and her disadvantage to stealth rolls nods.
It's
Bless her
okay,
heart,
Nicole,
she's
we
going
can
to
help.
try.
Clive looks over at Cass and like ponders for a moment, and then he says, "As quickly as we can."
And Devorah's like, hey, I can bless her. It's fine.
She's wearing chainmail. That's why.
Sneaky
jingle,
bless.
jingle, jingle.
Come get it.
Oh my god.
She is the dinner bell.
Oh my.
Ring-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling.
It's fine. It's actually a trap.
She wanted this.
Well, then, do we want to set out within the next day?
We should definitely rest before we do anything.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Rest. Yeah, so what supplies we can.
Make
Out of
sure.
character, they got showed the route, right? To
Joseph gave you a pretty. I mean, he just pointed at the map.
okay. Navori is going to take out her stupid little freaking notebook thing and scribble down stuff on the map that was pointed out.
Okay.
Cass was
Because-
planning on just taking that map.
Yeah, she doesn't know if Cass planning on taking the map, so she's doing it just in case.
Cass, once Nave is done, Cass rolls up the map and tucks it into her backpack.
Yeah, Navori doesn't care. I mean, come on, what? You might need a spare sometimes. Who knows? She's like, well, I mean, look, we're gonna see if there, in fact, is anything neat over there, and hopefully it's good news.
And even if it isn't, we'll be back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with an alternative, hopefully.
All right. Joseph doesn't look like he really believes you, but doesn't have much of a choice.
Cass walks over to him and she puts the book back in his hand.
He takes it and just kind of blinks at you a few times.
And she, and her considerable height, kneels down to sort of his level.
He leans back a little bit. Yes, ma'am?
She's bad at this.
Is she gonna do it?
I like to think she's just staring at
Awkward.
this child.
Yeah.
All
She has
silver
more
eyes.
hug
She
the
wants
kid.
to say, but listen. She's bad at this. So what she actually says is, and I'm not gonna do it in the accent. Kind of bugging me right now. She says, I got nothing. It's not even
Okay.
supposed to be meaningful. She pats the book and she says, "You found something to save your village."
He just looks at her like he doesn't really know what to make of the fact that she just said that, but he nods after a minute or two and yeah, I think I did, didn't I?
Have faith, yeah?
That's a weird word, but yeah.
Well, it's paid off so far.
We'll be back.
A little hope, yeah? Read that book again.
Keep reading it to other people, as a matter of fact. I believe that's how these things work.
Agatha just sort of smiles and nods and come here, Joseph. Yeah, we'll make sure that we read it to people and let them know that maybe something's coming back for them. We'll be careful though in case Harkin comes back while y'all are away.
I would keep that book out of sight as well.
Oh, he doesn't really come down here much, so we'll be okay.
In case that changes.
Yeah, we'll keep it hidden.
Navori gives him 2 thumbs up.
He tries to give 2, but then remembers he has the book. So it's like, it's 1 thumb up, or the other one's like tucked in against his chest really tight.
Navori just snickers.
Oh, awkward child.
Yeah. Thank y'all.
Yeah, Mario's gonna leave.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
just go.
Bye!
Yeah, we'll be back later. See you then. Navori waves and goes.
Okay.
Cass is gonna go back and inform Jonathan that she's taking his.
this map.
He looks like he was about to protest, but then didn't.
It's Cass. What are you gonna say?
Yeah.
She does promise to return it eventually.
Oh yeah, are we all at John's? We must all be at John's, right?
I don't know. Are you guys all at John's?
Is that where we're heading? That's
I
where we're
don't
sleeping,
know.
right?
I assume.
I guess.
Yeah, John did offer up the rooms he had, so.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, then I guess that's where they end up.
Okay.
We'll let Mario will let John know that they're going to go look for a promised land.
He just kind of gives you a really skeptical look and then looks. Uh-huh. And then he goes looking for you, Clive, and. Y'all looking for a promised land?
Well, we found some things that might hint that there's, I don't know if there's a promised land. I ain't gonna hold on to something that fantastical, but there might actually be something out there that could help. And if not, then, well, go with our original plan.
Well, alright. I'll keep these folks safe until y'all get back, then, I guess. Do you know how long it'll take?
Couple of weeks, probably.
Oh. Alright.
Are you worried about something?
I mean, I'm always worried about something down here. It's kind of day to day. But
Like, more than usual.
no, not more than usual. Just
I have the sense that a couple of weeks is a longer span of time than most people plan for. Yes?
yeah, it's like I said, you're kind of thankful for the next day.
We'll take comfort in
No,
the
I
fact
know how
that time
that
isn't
is.
real.
Yeah. Wait, what?
What?
Don't
He looks back to you, Clive.
don't worry about it. Don't think too hard about it.
All right. I'm gonna go do my rounds. Y'all feel free to help yourself to whatever's here. And John leaves.
Doesn't take anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm assuming you guys are going to bed down.
But he's not gonna take any supplies from.
Oh, okay, yeah. So what are you guys doing for your long rest period?
Sleeping.
I
Well,
presume sleeping.
Before Cass actually goes to sleep, she's gonna do a thing that's going to alarm them in the morning, but
Oh,
she'll worry
gosh.
about that in the morning.
Oh.
Well,
What does that mean?
Well, they'll all find out when they wake up tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll find out, won't we?
Oh. Okay, well,
Max,
the worries.
she's gonna
Yeah.
cast a spell in the middle of the night.
yeah, I figured.
Oh,
Okay.
well, that's great.
Mario was gonna say something to Kess, but after the conversation at Agatha's, she's elected to wait and hold her peace. So
Oh dear.
she will leave her alone for now.
Navori's just gonna do her whole vague praying, vague talking to her god thing about, yeah, we gotta free these people, blah blah blah.
Make a religion check.
Oh boy.
We're very religious tonight.
Yeah.
It's Christian in here.
Damn. She's
Oh.
on that shit.
As you're kind of pray talking, you get a sense of pride and accomplishment. Like you are being nudged in this sort of direction that you're taking.
I mean, this is the direction she wants to take, so she's happy about it. She's like, yeah, we're on the same side. We're gonna fucking do this.
Minnow, Sybil, anything special?
I mean, Sybil's gonna speak to nothing and no one and go to sleep.
Okay.
Or Clive is gonna attempt to sleep.
Okay.
Probably had set Boon on watch for a while.
Okay. Minnow.
After putting all her thoughts down in her diary like a productive scouting party the next
Dear
day.
diary, this group
Dear
is
diary,
fucking crazy.
No, she will write in her little journal, but yeah, just try to get some rest before they go off on their adventure.
Okay. You guys all get your rest and wake up in your as you will in the morning, or after 8 hours rather. It's not quite morning.
This is already gone.
Oh,
Whenever,
boy.
but at the very least, at least she's not inside. Here's some questionable noises outside, though.
Oh dear.
Okay, let's check that out.
Yeah.
Sybil's
Is
gonna
there a
blearily
window?
peer out the closest window to the sound.
Maybe the
Yeah.
ruffling of feathers
Oh.
and a disgruntled bird noises.
Ugh.
And
Oh, you
Maybe-
finally found an excuse to use this.
Uh-huh.
all right, so anyone who peeks out the window sees Cass, and she appears to be talking to, well, one of these.
Oh,
But
Lammergeier!
like, yeah,
Oh
I love
my
these
god!
fuckers. These are my favorites.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's like the size of a house.
Oh my god.
Oh
A
my god!
huge murder bird.
Yeah.
It's large sized, so mountable.
Oh.
Navari's just like, that's a fucking huge bird.
Like, just kind of like walks
Where
up.
did that come from?
He's just like eating like a sausage. That your bird?
Oh my god.
What do you think?
Yes.
How big are the eggs?
Cass doesn't know how to answer this question.
Why is that the most pertinent question?
Shadow's apparently hearing robot.
Yeah. Give me
Oh,
a
no.
second.
Oh, I can
Yes.
just refresh the call too. If I'm
Let me
the only
just
one
make
doing
sure.
that.
It could be a
All
server
right.
thing.
Yeah, it might have been anytime anyone's like I'm roboting, I'm worried, so just change the server. So
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds much better.
Oh,
Thank you.
good.
Hey.
Yep.
Hey.
okay.
Yeah, Navari stops peeking out the window and she's gonna like cautiously go outside to where this is happening. And she's sort of like she's moving around like a cat that has had the entire house changed. Like she's just like I don't want to make any sudden movements. This is kind of weird. It
This
might
is like
eat me.
A quarter inch off the ground, just hovering over
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Clive's just kind of like, well, this is a big bird.
Navari's just like hmm.
Cass, where did you
That's
get
really
this?
close to it. Like, is she
It-
patting it on the head? Like, how close is she to this bird?
Cass is close. It's looking at her like she's looking at it.
Oh,
If that makes any sense.
yeah. Navari kind of like crouch, like she's trying to stay super low to the ground, and she gets kind of close to Cass, and she's like, "Guess what's going on?"
Maria's looking at the way the bird and Cass are looking at each other, and she just leans over to Clive like, I think they're friends.
Well, I'm glad that Cass has friends.
Wow.
Maria looks at Clive, and she has this really hurt expression on her face for like 2 seconds.
Friends besides us, I mean.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, Navari's just kind of like lizarded to the ground.
Sybil is still like, Cass, where did you get this bird? Like,
Yeah.
please address this question because it's important.
Cass looks at Sybil and she's like, her name is Keshek and I summoned her.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you repeat the name?
Keshek.
Okay. I'm sorry. Justine thought you said Kesha.
All I can hear is D-I-N-O, you are a dinosaur. I'm just gonna cry.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Sybil just looks at Kes uncomprehending. But yes, that would be her name, I suppose. But
Is she friendly to like everybody, or does she not
I
like?
picture Nivari just saying this, like, slithered on the ground, looking
Yeah,
up.
that's exactly what she's doing. She's like,
For the record, this bird looks like it is understanding every single word that they are saying.
Okay.
Boon is like all up in this thing's business, by the way.
Nabori kind of then looks at the bird, and she sort of is like, "Hi."
The bird ruffles its feathers a little bit, making itself look more intimidating.
Yeah, I'm way down here. It's okay.
They're definitely friends, yeah.
And I don't know if Nave can like sense celestial things, but this is a celestial thing. It's not just an animal.
I mean, I don't know if she can either.
Like,
is
not
it
natively.
divine?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you would have to use, like, you have, like, a detect thing, don't you?
Yeah, it's a spell.
Yeah, there's nothing that would just naturally tell you when something's
Okay, so
divine,
it's not
but
like
yeah.
just generally divine.
As far as you're concerned, it's a
religion
very
checks with-
big bird.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I figured. I mean, she figures it might have something to do with, Cass's deal because it's a bird and, the feather and yeah, but she's just like, that's a bird, man.
Yep.
It's a bird underground.
Right.
subterranean bird.
Subterranean bird.
Yeah, Navori's like, she's still talking to the bird, by the way. She's like, did Cass tell you about us?
The bird kind of like ruffles its feathers back down with a shake of its head and then looks away.
Navori's like, well, I'm Navori. Nice to meet you. So she's still sort of lizarded to the ground.
It looks at Navori and then it like opens its mouth and makes like a vulture noise. Which I don't know, man.
When it makes the vulture noise, Boon makes that like grumbly noise that dogs make.
Grr.
You know, the noise that Ether makes when she's grumbling.
When you say vulture noise, my mind goes to Pokemon. And just goes, vulture!
Oh my god!
Oh,
I was thinking of like a scream. Okay.
Yeah,
That works
me
too. Yeah, it opens its mouth and just an unholy or a holy.
A very
Yeah.
holy
Let's be
bird
discreet,
scream.
everybody.
Sybil nods and she's like, wow, like mother, like daughter.
Navori just kind of waves her tail around as like hi, I'm waving, but she's on the ground, so she's not waving the right way. and she kind of backs up a bit, still lizarding, before she stands up like a normal person.
So, does this thing look big enough for them all to, like, hop on?
No, it looks big enough for probably Kess to get on. Or like one
Sybil's-
person.
I thought you said
Sybil
it was
is
the
just gonna
size of a house. Like,
I mean,
It's
exactly. Size
it-
of the hut. Next.
It's also a bird.
Hollow bones.
Magic.
Yeah,
bird?
like birds can fly because their bones are
I mean,
hollow.
Cass
Yeah.
probably weighs 300 pounds all by herself with her armor and everything.
But a magic bird.
Sybil's just like, we have another mouth to feed now.
John has approached and is just like,
right.
howdy, bird.
It screeches again.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm not sure where it came from either.
Are you gonna use it to fly up out of here?
Nope.
Oh, all right.
It's a bird. It can fly, can it?
Mm-hmm.
What are you using it for then?
I mean, it's a friend. Why are you asking her those things? That's mean.
I assume she summoned it for a reason.
I'm gonna go inside. John
Cass,
kind of gives the bird a wide berth.
Cass pats the bird and she looks at Mari and she says, she's a vulture.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Oh. I get it.
I don't.
Nor do I.
It eats
They're
dead
good at
things.
pointing out dead things.
Cass gestures at both name and
Oh, I see. Do undead things count, or is it? all
Yeah.
undead?
Yes, they
I mean, undead things still smell like dead things, so.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, welcome to the buffet.
I don't know why the idea of something eating an undead zombie is worse than something just eating a corpse, but I'm feeling some sort of queasy way.
Is Sybil still like leaning out a window?
Yeah. That's just how it is when you're college age.
Yeah. You don't fucking walk up, you lean out windows to speak to people. You make windows to speak to people.
Jesus.
Alright,
Well-
so.
Welcome
Yeah.
to the group.
Yeah.
So what, we're heading out then?
Mm.
We got a lot of shit.
Well, we got a lot of walking ahead of us, so sooner the better.
Oh, vultures hiss.
Oh, well,
But do they also scream?
Well, for some reason now I'm expecting him to make Mr.
Actually, they make pretty cool noises. Sure,
But do they also scream?
kinda.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Oh.
Yeah. They sort of hiss and then like trill. Yeah.
Goodness, those do sound like dinosaurs.
Yeah, they really do.
Oh gosh, I just
Well-
got to the hissing.
Now I'm just expecting. My mind is now like saying a volt, making Mr. Bub voice noises. It just opens up its mouth and goes. "Wah."
Oh God. Oh, Mr. Bubs makes my day better every day.
Yeah. I love the idea of Kes saying, "I got you. I got this on camera."
And Kesha just.
Meanwhile, Sybil is like, I love you, Mr. Bugs! I love you!
Just remake that with a giant vulture. It'll look at Cass and.
Oh my
Just
gosh.
this. Oh God, that stupid noise is what gets me. It's just a. Sorry, alright.
There's a point where this.
Now that we've got those demons out.
Yeah. So yeah, that just whenever Vulture makes those noises, that's it. You guys will just hear that weird chitter hiss.
Huh.
All right, so what's the plan?
That sounds like a squeaky toy.
It does. It's far more adorable than I expected.
Right?
Oh God.
Yes.
Is that the noise it makes? A high-pitched squeaking?
Only
Yeah.
sometimes.
All right. Yeah, there's just like this disproportionately cute sound that comes out of it.
I love it.
It's what happens when someone gets a mount. You gotta spend time looking up the noises it can
Yeah.
possibly
It's
make.
important.
Yeah, this is really
Yeah.
important.
My immersion.
I didn't need I was like, oh, I'm gonna link this super cool picture, and then I didn't think about the noises. That was not
It's fine. It's still super cool.
and also adorable. So
Yeah.
here we are.
I mean, does that not sum Kess up?
Oh my God.
Yes.
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 All right. Well, yeah. Here
Think
we
we
are.
are ready to move, yes?
Ready to spread our wings.
Mm.
Oh no.
As it were.
Did Minnow say that in
No,
character?
absolutely not.
Alright.
They going.
So, tell me what the plan here is.
We head for the tunnel.
They go.
They go.
Okay.
They
Okay.
go.
So
Tunnel edge.
we didn't get explicit direction from young Joseph, so perhaps we may want to speak to him before setting out.
I thought
Oh.
they did.
Yeah,
Oh.
me too.
Did, oh, did
I
he?
thought he gave us the route to like a
Yeah.
tunnel
Oh,
that
okay,
takes us in that
okay.
Yes.
direction.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
good,
he
good.
did.
Okay, so we don't need to. Cool.
So, alright, you guys spend the better part of an hour and a half actually taking this route. It's a bit roundabout. You have to go out of the town southern ways towards the tunnels that went to Moonhaven. Before you actually hit that tunnel, though, he told you have to go the perimeter, heading a bit like northeast. You had to go around this way, though, because there's an outcropping that would just stop you from going straight northeast. So you had to go south, up to the lip, where the southern tunnel begins, and then walk around the edge there. And there was a decently sized opening that was difficult to see before because it was dark. And now that I'm assuming you guys have a light source with you,
Mm-hmm.
you're
No,
able
we
to
just
s-
went in blind.
yeah, that's just, I never know with you guys really.
Oh wait,
You guys-
I was gonna before we left town, I almost completely fucking forgot. Should we bring some fruit with us in case we need to sneak past some ghouls?
I suppose so. We can't make bad fruit. We can only make good fruit.
Mm.
Good berries to be precise.
If you guys do that,
Mm-hmm.
you will have to trade something.
Oh, well that makes sense. Let's
Okay.
see.
Or you can trade a fuck ton of water.
Well, that turns out to be good enough.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, sick.
They are
I'm
not.
gonna go to your house and cut off your toes.
I mean, no, she's got a spell to create water. Come on.
Wow, I didn't even think of that. I thought you were mad at me for a second. I was like, what? Huh? That's oddly specific. Yeah, so you get about 3 pounds worth of rotten fruit. It smells awful.
Excellent.
She gave them like
Yay,
10
she
gallons of
keep it.
clean water.
Yeah. And that reminds me. Before you guys leave entirely, John catches you at the edges of the town, and he's carrying a sack. And he runs up to you guys and almost forgot to give you this. He holds it out.
What's in the sack?
Navari takes it and looks in it.
Well, it's kind of a heavy sack to hold.
She does it anyway. It's
yeah,
fine.
and when you open it, it's just pitch dark in there.
It's like, whoa, what? Wait. What is it? There's nothing in here.
It's a really, really deep sack.
Oh.
Would something happen if I stuck my arm in it?
It's a deep set.
Oh god.
I mean, your arm would go in.
But, like, it wouldn't eat it or anything, right? Like, it wouldn't just grow teeth and try to attack my arm.
Have you been bitten by many sacks, Navori?
No, but
Oh.
never
can't
mind. I'm not gonna
say-
talk about it.
I can't say I
Sticks
ever
her
have.
arm in.
Maria looks really understanding. Like, she understands reality's fucky. It's cool.
But yeah, Navari totally sticks her entire fucking arm in the sack.
All right. Hold on.
That's just how I do sometimes.
Oh my god.
Does it, like, hit
Um,
the bottom?
No.
Does it look like it should hit the bottom?
Yeah, absolutely.
Navari's like, what the fuck? Look at this! I can't feel the bottom of this thing.
Oh.
I like it.
Why don't we
It's
put
terrifying, but I like it.
Why don't we put the smelly fruit in it, yeah?
Could we ever get it out?
I assume
How do we
so.
get things out of here if we put them in?
She looks at John.
Yeah, Navari's looking at him too.
I mean, you can just reach in and grab it. You just,
Think
I don't
about
know.
it.
I usually think of things when I'm trying to get them. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, well that's good because like I can't
Oh.
feel the bottom of this and it's really
Yeah. All I really know is it's a really, really deep sack.
I'm realizing that Sybil has a lot of equipment that I just never pay attention to. So she's gonna put in a hammer that's never come into play before into hammer space to see what happens.
Beautiful.
Yeah, Navari like takes her arm out and holds out for Sybil and she's like yeah, just she's expecting Sybil to shove her entire arm in there too.
Sybil just puts the hammer in and she takes her hand out and puts her hand back in and she shakes it all about.
Sybil, do you go like all? Do you go? Actually, yeah. Never mind. Your arm is not that long.
I mean, it's only about wrist deep, don't worry.
Oh my
God, I hate you. Anyway, you guys now have a bag of holding.
But does she get the hammer back?
Yeah, the hammer comes back.
Okay.
It should be noted that this is a real bag of holding, so it does not hold infinite things. It is about 2 feet in diameter and 4 feet deep, and it can hold up to 500 pounds, not exceeding a volume of 64 cubic feet. All these measurements you're never going to care about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
like,
And we're just gonna shove things in there until we can't anymore.
Absolutely.
Until we find a dragon's hoard and have to organize the gold and to be in such a way that it all fits in.
Hey, Max, before we embark on our journey, can I say Sybil did something last night? by the way?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, she put hold person in her pearl of power.
Okay, that's fine. Also, just as a note, the bag of holding always weighs 15 pounds.
Mm.
So it's never complete. It's always a decent weight to carry around.
It's like a small dog.
Yeah, basically.
Or a medium dog.
Yeah, it's a
Medium
medium.
dog, yeah.
Medium small.
It's like carrying a Boston Terrier with you everywhere.
yeah,
Maybe a little
Navari's
bigger.
like,
Maybe
hey,
a bulldog.
thanks for the ridiculously neat bag.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm sure it'll come in handy.
Yeah, the kids brought it from one of the tunnels once, and I'll be honest, I don't have enough stuff to put in a bag this big.
Mm. Well, we'll try to bring souvenirs.
Alright.
And then she dumps the rotten fruit in it.
Okay. Make sure one of you has the bag of holding in your inventory, by the way.
Oh yeah. Who wants to carry the bag?
Sybil
mean-
will carry the bag.
Okay.
She's feeling useful, and she has big, strong arms that she wants to show off. No one
Yeah.
will acknowledge it.
I was gonna say that Navori would like to carry the bag, but it's probably too heavy for her to be comfortable with it.
Yeah, isn't she like 90 pounds on a good
Mm.
day?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want a bag that's like a tenth of your body weight.
She's like one of those women that's carrying around a tote bag constantly, and she's just stuffed with stuff.
She's got all kinds of stuff hidden on her person, but that bag is too much, man.
I recently learned that the bigger version of a bag of holding in 5th edition is a backpack of holding, basically.
Oh my god.
I want that.
Yeah.
That's always
Yeah.
how I imagine a bag of holding.
Yeah,
to
me
be
too.
honest.
The thing that they have in Critical Role is the super backpack.
Super backpack.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. Yeah, I have no idea what it's called actually, but yeah.
Case of holding.
We had a Minotaur barbarian that wanted a backpack his size, so he got a barrel fashioned into a little chest he could strap to his back, and that got turned into a chest of holding eventually. So that was a
Jesus.
really bad idea, and I shouldn't have done that. But
Yeah, anyway, I'll look for this later. But yeah, it's a backpack of holding basically, but you guys have a bag of holding.
For now.
Yeah, for now. So now you are at the entrance to this tunnel. It's fairly large. It's definitely big enough for the summoned bird to walk through. What's the bird's name again? So I can write it down.
Then, sorry, what?
What is your bird's name so I can write it down?
Kashak. It's Kashaak.
Okay, cool. So I don't keep calling it Kesha.
I mean, you can.
Cat named herself after her bird.
Brush my beak with a bottle of Jack.
Tonight we are not coming back.
Stop.
Anytime Kes needs to summon Kashak, she'll just fucking start singing some Kesha.
yes.
That's what
Oh
frightened
my
us in the night.
God, no!
Music blaring from the room.
That's exactly why she did it when no one was awake. No one
She had
could
to go. She had to go perform a sick song.
She's yelling timber.
Oh, how do you just have this ready?
I don't know.
She's the queen of puns.
Yeah, I don't know how this happens. Like it just happens around you. Oh yeah, it's the handy haversack is the yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, so you guys are now heading into the tunnels. It is large enough for Kashak to follow, but not large enough that you guys can really walk next to each other the whole way. Right.
Boon is very suspicious of the bird. Keeps an eye on the bird constantly as they're
I keep imagining him looking at the bird, like, when you see a dog, you can see the whites of a dog's eyes.
Yeah,
in the
no,
dog.
that's exactly it. He's not intimidated by the bird, he just doesn't trust.
There's also a point in which Navori lets the money come out of her robe, well, not
There's too many
robes,
pets in
weird
this
rag
party.
clothes, and she just shows the money the bird, so the money is aware that the bird is there. And then let's
That
him
was-
do his thing.
Oh, God.
I'm not ever gonna get over the money.
I do love the money.
Alright. So you guys are heading up through these tunnels. Oh my god. Yeah. Boon.
Oh
Oh, yes.
Alright, yeah. So you guys are heading up through these tunnels. keeping the way lit in front of you, and thankfully there is only forward to go. You continue to hear the sounds of things moving around you. Nothing crosses your path for a time. You do have to take it somewhat slowly, considering it is a pretty harsh uphill climb after about 10 minutes up. I need you guys all to make athletics checks.
Oh,
Okay.
boy.
All right.
Smash
Here
letters.
we go.
Good.
Plus this.
That is the highest I. That is
Hey!
the highest I have rolled tonight.
Before he gets a 20.
Ooh. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna use luck because why?
Are
not?
you okay?
Yeah, Sybil would be very embarrassed about this because it's an athletics check. An 8.
Wow.
Nailed it.
Alright, so you guys start to climb this uphill thing, and it gets severe enough that you actually have to start climbing. It's not like a full-on rock face, but it's, you know, when you're walking up a hill and you kind of have to use your hands to push you up a little bit. Sybil and Clive. Yeah, Sybil and Clive. You guys slip a little bit. You're climbing up, and the dirt underneath you loosens at some point, and you guys slide down about 10 feet before catching yourselves. It's very embarrassing for both of you.
Yo, Sybil's so embarrassed.
And thankfully you do catch yourselves before you really fall too far and before you hit any rocks or anything. But it definitely cost you some time. You guys eventually do reach the crest of this uphill climb, and the ground in front of you levels off. You're still underground, and now the distant sounds of various undead creatures has gotten less distant. I need Kess and Navori make perception checks with a disadvantage.
So, wait, okay. Are we at the top of the thing?
Oh,
Whoa.
whoops.
Are
Yeah.
we at...
Oh no.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
So
You're not above ground. You're still underground though.
Okay, so Navori would just
14.
get normal because she would have advantage otherwise?
Correct.
Great!
All right.
We're doing this.
So you guys brush yourselves off and start going forward again, but Kess, you catch the glimpse of something long and serpentine just moving in front of you across the way. You only barely catch the shadow of it moving. It's just a little too far for you to really see, but you hold up the group, holding your hands up. And there's a loud rumbling noise that you guys all hear, like the cave around you is about to cave in almost. It's unnerving. And then the rumbling slowly subsides as you hear this clicking noise go past the side of your heads off to the right of you. And you can hear the dirt being pushed away. And then small, spiny things poke out of the walls and move around like churning worms, pushing their way through the dirt as whatever is in the wall next to you tunnels its way past, but its strange bony digits are close enough to you that if you were in any other situation or were caught unawares, you would probably be grabbed in some way. But this passes without any incident. And the sound of things around you grows distant again. Still present. The various growls, snarls, and occasionally you hear like a yipping noise, like coyotes fighting over a meal. But you continue on. It takes you about 2 more hours for anything unusual to happen.
Oh,
Yeah. Along the way, it's the same eerie noises all around you, but it's a pretty straight shot. But then everyone make a perception check with disadvantage.
Okay.
But Kess and Navori get to do it without. Actually, Navori,
Okay.
you do get advantage.
Okay.
Friggin' sliding scale.
Yeah, right.
Dang, Minnow.
Cass is on this, man.
Yes, it's where?
Okay.
Also, for the record, Kashak's only skill is perception,
Mm-hmm.
and she has keen sight and smell.
Okay, I will keep that in mind. Thank you. You guys continue to make your way across when not Mario. Wow. Kess, Minnow, and Knave. You guys hear the sound of things fighting in front of you. Loud snarls and the sound of flesh being torn apart. You hear the grunts of pain coming from something that sounds almost humanoid. And there are several large boulders for you to hide behind as you notice that you were about to step into a very large open area.
Sure, Kess will roll stealth to sneak up to
Okay.
the boulders and take a peek over.
Okay.
And Navori's gonna hide if that's an option.
Oof.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, you can roll stealth. You don't have to
Yeah,
hide.
Sneak and take a look too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think everyone's kind of dropping into stealth mode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kess does as she do.
Let me
She-
remember
she-
what my
Kess-
stealth roll is.
Kess drops to get quiet, and it's this like
Oh,
it sounds
good.
like dishes falling from a rack.
Yeah. After this,
Duh.
Navori's gonna give everyone pass without a train.
Okay, well, Minnow, you're the only one that really gets up against the rock without raising a ruckus.
I rolled
Wow.
a 19.
I
Oh,
was
did
gonna
you
say, damn.
did you also were you also approaching, or did you just crouch down?
Yeah.
Okay, well then, yeah,
I
you
just
also
was-
approach without raising much of a ruckus. Now that the sound's been pointed out, you obviously hear it. And you guys get up to the boulders and are able to get a better look at it. And you see a pale individual in ragged, torn up clothing fighting with several ghouls. And the ghouls leap at this individual, feral, growling and snarling, and this person that they're fighting snarls back, and they have elongated claws for hands, and they swipe at the ghouls as they pass overhead, disemboweling one of the ghouls entirely, just spilling it open, leaving it skittering off to the side, hitting the dirt, and just sliding before twitching and dying again.
Kess is gonna use her ability to sense undead.
Is hella undead.
Clive's gonna look at it and he's going to check and see if it is indeed a vampire.
All right, make a what is that? Nature for you?
Is it nature? Let me look at favorite in a... apparently just survival checks.
Okay, survival works here.
Damn.
Nice.
All right. This is indeed a vampire. You do catch notice of the sound specifically, since you're not terribly close. But relaying the information given to you, the pale individual with long, scraggly, dark hair has a mouthful of razor-sharp teeth, and it swings at these ghouls as they pass by, disemboweling as more kind of come out of the woodwork.
Clive doesn't say anything, but he gives the group a "this is a vampire" look.
Cass is aware.
You guys hear a loud ripping sound, like something has just had its flesh torn open. And then there's a wet slapping sound, as those of you that were watching see that the vampire has had its front just torn off.
Ooh.
And you see something very unsettling, actually.
Oh dear.
Down the entire front of it, where you would normally see things like lungs and just musculature, there is one very long tube-like structure that leads up to where its mouth and jaw once was. It looks like a hollowed-out tongue, almost, leading to a stomach. And that's all that there is inside of it. Just a weird kind of hollow tube that has been exposed. And a stomach. There's stuff below that. It looks like it's digestive in some way. But this is the only stuff that's like where you would assume, lungs, rib cage, all that would be.
Wow, it had like a sad rope inside of it.
And it falls forward with a wet sound as some of the ghouls tear into it, tearing off limbs before sauntering back, leaving the remains of a vampiric corpse.
Sybil's gonna look at Clive and be like, "Hey, so what's up with that? I mean, why? Why's that happening?"
Clive, you know that there are two kinds of vampires. One are the sort that Lord Harkin are. They are more human in nature. They are practically humans that have become undead in some way. What this is what vampires started off as. They were these parasitic-like creatures that had the shape of a person, but weren't actually people, ever. They were basically they were people-shaped. They had the ability to mask themselves as people, almost. But inside of their mouths, there were no teeth. There was basically just a tongue that was like a lamprey that would lead down into a stomach where the blood would be digested. And after feeding, it would be bloated, somewhat like a mosquito.
Ew.
These things couldn't talk. They were telepathic in nature. And the easiest way to tell that these were vampires and not people is that they don't breathe.
Clive relays all of this to the party for the sake of time, and because that was a lot of information.
Navori's just like, ew.
So yeah, if we ever run into any person out here and you're suspicious of, pay attention to if they're breathing.
Don't like that. You know what? Come here. Navari kind of scoots closer to everyone, and she's like, well, are they gonna keep going, first of all? Like, she's gonna do a thing before they keep going.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna linger.
Yeah.
Okay. She's gonna cast Pass Without a Trace on everybody.
Yay!
Because that was awful.
That was
She's
potentially
like, "Don't like
embarrassing.
that."
Yeah.
So. Yep. That happened.
So you guys, with Navori's spell settled over you, you continue on. You pass by this disgusting little display, making your way past it quickly, just in case any of the ghouls came back. You continue onwards, and you begin to hear the sound of wind passing through the tunnels. And while the air doesn't smell fresh necessarily, it doesn't smell dirty. It just smells kind of stale. Continuing on, you do see in the distance a small speck of light. Yeah, you know what? You guys continue on. And about 30 minutes later, you begin climbing your way out of a hole in the ground, one by one. You pull yourselves up and out.
Oof.
No. There. Pulling yourselves above ground, you find that you're basically coming out of a tunnel in the middle of nowhere. There are a few dead trees nearby, some dead grass around you, but you're essentially in a large open plain. And pulling yourselves out, you dust yourselves off and see that, yep, the sky above you is shrouded in clouds. They're kind of inky looking, blotting out the sun that you can still see behind these clouds. It's just very dim. It casts it casts the land in a very greasy color, making everything look washed out and unpleasant. In front of you, there are mountains. They loom very large, looking like gates to the heavens even. They disappear into the sky, looking, yeah, like gates or even a cage. Looking behind you or around you, you do not see the tree or the village you originally went into. What do you guys do?
Well, Clive's gonna do his usual perceive if there's anything dangerous or anything
Yeah.
that stands out.
Maybe ask Cass if we can orient to the map a little bit.
Navori's also gonna look around.
Finds
Being out in
a-
a wide open space doesn't make her comfortable.
Cass finds a surface to spread the map out on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you find a reasonable empty patch of land. It's not a rock or anything to lay it on, but you can smooth out the dirt a little bit to make room to lay the map down. Clive, make a perception check. Since you're
Navor
looking.
would do this too.
No.
Okay.
Okay. You take watch, looking around, and you don't see anything crawling close to the ground or anything up in the sky. You see nothing but barren land. Those of you look.
Are there any like really notable landmarks or anything?
To the east, towards the mountains, you do see the remains of something. It's hard to tell what it is from this distance, but it looks like it might have been building-sized. It's very distant from you. You're pretty sure the only reason you can actually see it is because of how utterly open and desolate this area you're in is.
Well, Clive's gonna stay nearby and keep watch while they look at the map and figure out where we are.
Okay. Those of you looking at the map, make a survival check.
Oh, let's see. I'm not very good at that at all.
Okay. It takes a little bit of time to orient yourselves because of the lack of surroundings. But you estimate that you're about 50 miles out from Dawncross. Or not Dawncross, Hearthcross.
Hearthcross, okay. Okay.
This shortcut, you think, probably cut off about 15, 20 miles total. of travel.
So
That's pretty impressive.
yeah, it's a good
Yeah,
shortcut.
it cut off a decent amount.
Okay.
But granted, you are also traveling for the majority of your day, so
Yes.
average travel's about 8 miles a day without any magical aid. So
Right.
Ow.
Maybe we should make a mark on the map where we came out, or at least approximately.
Yes. Pulls out something to make a mark with.
No.
Okay. Yeah, not difficult considering you're inevitably going to have something you can draw with in some way. Let me see something real quick.
Navari copies on her map copy.
Update the map time.
Yep.
Sorry. I am checking what travel speed looks like. Man, this is really unclear. Look at that. For... Okay. Yeah, you can move about 2 miles an hour, actually. Considering you would get about 8 hours of travel total without tiring yourselves out. Yeah, you can do about 16 miles a day going at a normal speed. If you go at a slower speed, which would give you advantage on certain checks, you would be going at about 12 miles a day.
Is there also a forced march?
There is a forced march. However, for every day that you do a forced march, the whole party takes a point of exhaustion.
Oof.
Yeah.
How far?
But
how far does that?
that
go?
is 20 miles a day.
Okay.
Well, I don't think there's any particular reason to take a forced march yet.
Not yet. So, in what direction is Hearthcross from here?
East.
Okay, so that might have been what Clyde was seeing, perhaps.
So, you guys gonna start traveling?
I suppose it's east for us, yes?
Yeah, that's what the thing says, right?
Suppose so.
Okay. You guys take off. You've lost about half a day making your way out of the tunnels. So you don't make much progress today. You go normal pace? Okay. You go about 16, or you go about 8 miles in about the 4 hours that you had left before the sun begins to set. And when the sun sets in Barovia, it's dramatic.
Oh, jeez.
What goes from a greasy, dark cloud just gets completely pitch black. There's no moon in the sky. There are no stars to be seen. This greasy smell is still in the air as whatever the clouds are made of continues to persist in the atmosphere. But as you guys are walking, the sun dipping over the horizon drapes you in darkness quickly. And you find yourselves walking through complete darkness. And this is enough to stop you. Who's pitching camp? What's happening?
Yes, let's pitch camp.
Clive's gonna look for a place that might have maybe a bit of concealment.
Okay. Give me a survival check with advantage.
Okay.
Just so you know, it's going to be about 3 days to get to Hearthcross.
It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. You, as it begins to get dark, you quickly take the few minutes you have before complete darkness to survey your surroundings, and you find a small rock outcropping. It's not much, and there are still really no trees around you, but it's something. And you gesture over to it, and when you look at it again, you notice that it's like something began a burrow and then stopped.
Oh.
It looks like it's been untouched for some time, but it looks more like something dug a hole and then just stopped digging it at some point.
Well, if there's no signs that whatever dug it is still around, Clive's not going to worry.
Yeah, no, there's no signs of anything having been around recently.
Okay, well, he's going to start setting up camp there then.
Okay. So, who's doing what?
Do we want a fire? Do we not want a fire?
Well, I mean, if we have one, it's definitely gonna draw attention.
Right.
Like, it'll be the only thing you can see for a long time. So,
Probably not. Let's not risk it.
yeah.
Some of y'all got dark vision then, right?
Some of us, yes.
Mhm.
Those of you who can actually see a bit in the dark should probably be the ones on watch then.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
So Navori and Kess going to be the only two on watch? Or who else has...
I
Yeah.
don't think anybody else does.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Does-
Alright.
does
Clive will still
Bird
offer
have
to-
dark vision.
Clive will still offer to take a watch shift because Clive is sharp and
He gotta
Yeah.
listen
Okay.
for things.
If anything, Mena would offer to keep somebody company who has night vision, just
Mhm.
so there's two people up.
Exactly.
Okay.
I have a question. Like, what are the sounds in this area? I'm guessing like, maybe wind.
There is the sound of wind. And it's not a fun wind sound. Have you ever heard the sound of wind going over just an open area?
it's very desolate.
Yes.
Like
It's
loud,
a s-
like whistling kind of wind.
Yeah, it is the sound of loneliness.
I don't know why I've been
Okay.
hearing Careless
Hell.
Whisper in the back of my head. I'm sorry.
I'm just
That's
hearing
cool.
"Hello, Darkness," my old friend.
That's kind of what it sounds like too. So,
Okay. Navori is like, anyone with keen hearing, perhaps, too.
Boon will help out, won't you, Boon? Barks.
all right. So, what's the watch schedule look like?
I figure that Navori and Kesh shouldn't necessarily be
No,
taking
they
watch at
won't.
the same time.
Right.
Nave can
Yeah.
go first.
Okay, yeah, she's gonna then.
Okay. Are you guys just gonna split watch up as 4 hours, 4 hours?
Uh,
However long shifts need to be to make sure everyone gets like a full rest.
Yeah, so we should have two.
Needs to be 3 watches. You have to get 6 hours for a full long rest. So those with the dark vision will be making checks will be making checks normally. Those without will be making them disadvantaged.
I'm gonna say that Sybil is probably gonna stay up on whatever watch Minnow is on, just so that, like... how my brain is working is, like, organize it in such a way that we've got, like, someone ranged and someone melee, because two ranged just seems bad.
For whichever shift doesn't have dark vision, Boon is going to keep watch with them.
Okay.
Let's do jock party at with Boon.
Jocks!
Jocks with Boon.
Jackson Boone.
Yeah, technically the long rest has to be 8 hours, but I'm making it 6. So yeah, it has to be 3 shifts. Okay, so first shift, who is it?
Navori.
Yep. And then whoever. Do you want me to keep you company?
If you want to,
All right.
I wouldn't mind.
She will go and do that thing.
So Navori and Maria.
Yep.
All right.
Navori and a rock.
I guess Clive will stay awake with Kess then.
Sure.
All right, then jock party.
Yeah, and
Jock-
Sybil will be like, "Hey, sorry for stabbing your hand at some point in the night."
Well, before any roleplay can happen, I need Navori and Maria to make perception checks.
God, this is giving me
Okay, so-
flashbacks to the fucking Feywild.
Oh, yeah.
Mori would have normal, so she had her dagger out. It'd be advantage.
Yeah.
Maria's at
Alrighty.
disadvantage, I believe.
No. Yes, Maria's a disadvantage.
So 17.
Damn, Maria.
All right.
Paranoid.
So between the two of you, you make it about, what is it, 3 hours? Sorry, hold on. About 2.5 hours, yeah. You make it about 2.5 hours listening to silence. You don't hear anything, except for when you wake up Kess and Clive.
Mm.
Yeah, the Mori's just like, well, it was all clear for us.
It's very quiet.
Hmm.
Kinda disturbing.
Well,
A little bit.
hopefully it stays that way.
Mm.
All right, Kess and Clive, perception checks.
Okay. I'm guessing I have disadvantage.
Yes, you do.
Oh dear.
Mm.
Well, that's a 2.
Oh my god!
Oh.
Stop!
Goodness.
Clive's got it.
By the way, Kess, are you keeping Kashak summoned?
Oh yeah, they're permanent until otherwise.
Permanent
Yeah.
bird.
Permanent bird.
Permanent bird.
Perma bird.
You know what? Kishak is actually gonna like fly
Okay.
and take a look around. Got a fly speed of 60 feet.
Okay. Make a perception check for Kashak.
Sure.
What do the keen things do, by the way?
Advantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on sight or smell. So in this case, probably not sight, but maybe
Yes.
smell.
No, but it would negate any disadvantage it would get for the darkness.
Fair enough.
All right. So, Kess, you are distracted, as happens sometimes.
She's getting used to the fact that she can communicate telepathically with this giant bird.
The only sound you hear, Clive, is the occasional flap of Kashak overhead.
At first, that probably like bothers him, but then he gets used to it.
It is a quiet and desolate place that you are in. The rock that you are tucked up against does keep the warmth in because it does get chillier at night with whatever substance in the sky is, both keeps the warmth from reaching and, well, it keeps warmth from reaching entirely. It's not very comfortable down here. Not uncomfortable, but you could do with some blankets, sort of thing. Sort of like this time of year in New York. Woo! But yeah, so your shift passes without any incident, and you go to wake up Sybil and Minnow.
Sybil immediately realizes how awkward this situation is, and is like, "Oh, perhaps I made a mistake."
Yeah, Kess was having one of those with Clive, but she, didn't say anything to him. So
Clive doesn't seem particularly like angry or anything. I guess like he gets it. She
Clive's
was
just such a good guy.
She wasn't in her right mind.
Oh, how is Clive just gonna sit there and be like the biggest bro of the party?
Seriously.
He was like, "I get it, man. Yeah."
Sometimes it happens.
You were compelled by a magic book you shouldn't have touched. But,
Mhm.
I think you're a dummy, but I still like you.
You made a dumb decision, but the consequences were your fault, but also not your fault. It's fine. Just don't do it again.
All right.
Spoilers.
Sybil and Minnow, perception at disadvantage.
Isn't Boon with them too?
Mm-hmm.
It's there.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Boon's there too.
Boon is there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, he gets to
Bloody hell.
participate as well.
Oh dear.
An 8.
Ooh. Oh!
Boon's not really looking so much as he's listening and smelling. So I'm going to say he doesn't get disadvantage.
Nope, he
Arcane.
does. Yeah, no, he is at normal.
But it's good because he gets advantage on smelling and hearing.
Yeah, that works.
Because he has keen hearing and smell.
It would be hearing. In this case, smelling isn't gonna do a bunch.
Smell that dirt.
Yeah. But yeah, considering you are in a pretty desolate place, hearing things will be easy. Thank
Yeah.
God
Saved
for
everybody.
Boone.
Yeah.
Save
Um,
the dog.
The time kind of passes slowly, it feels like, for this last one. And just as the sun kind of begins to peek over the horizon, lending the landscape a very dead, orangey color, kind of jaundiced. You guys, Sybil, Minnow, and Boone, you hear the quiet growls of something nearby. Well, Boone
how
hears it
nearby?
and then alerts you.
How nearby?
Well, you aren't too sure. You can peek your head out to look.
What I want to do is I want to summon Joseph, Eunuch Joseph specifically,
Okay.
and I want to have him just walk far away as far as he can in a different direction, but like in a shitty, clumsy way.
Okay.
Well, like he
Like
can be
making
shitty and clumsy
noise.
far away somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
he
like-
doesn't start off shitty and clumsy.
So, like, making noise away from you.
Yeah.
Okay. You do so. And you make Eunuch Joseph cause a bit of a ruckus, kicking up rocks and dirt about, 20, 25 feet away from you.
Yeah.
And you hear the snarls turn into a roar. And something...
Oh, I mean, he can go 60 feet.
He didn't make it all the way. Oh,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
um,
That's fine. Sometimes on your journey you don't make it.
yeah, pretty much. In the pre-dawn grease light,
Jeez.
you see something large and dark just dart out from underground, speeding across the landscape to just skid across where Eunuch Joseph's sound was. And you can't make out any details on it, but it's big,
Mm-hmm.
and you see it looking around on all fours, and it's pretty close to the ground,
Uh-huh.
and it's
I mean-
looking around, waiting.
Yeah, Joseph is like, you can't see him. He's so invisible.
Yeah.
So he's just gonna like, just do, like just kind of keep going forward. In a very loud and raucous way.
Okay. The thing, you see a large humanoid head lift up from this thing's flat body, and you hear the loud sound of it sniffing.
Mm-hmm.
But then Eunuch Joseph kicks up a particularly large rock, and you see this thing's massive head. It's like humanoid, but stretched thin towards the front of the face.
Ooh.
And you see it twist, snapping off to the side where Eunuch Joseph was, and it skitters off towards the noise.
Oof.
Like that.
Eee.
Maybe Eunuch Joseph can keep it away.
Mm.
Maybe wake everybody up.
I mean,
Also, I want to did Sybil ask the stuff before? I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
oh, I mean, Sybil probably did. She was probably like, "Hey, sorry about totally stabbing you." Well, I mean, really, I more like sliced you and stabbed you. You know.
Yeah. She wanna just to speed this up. She would have been fine if just make sure it wasn't actually Sybil being angry with her, and it's cool. So.
Sybil is relieved. Does it look like that creature is going to come for us, or?
It looks very distracted by Eunuch Joseph as far as you can tell, but it's also
Okay.
difficult to tell because you don't know what you're looking at.
I'm gonna just check something real quick. Okay. Yeah, Sybil's just gonna look at Minnow and be like, "Can you just kind of subtly wake up the others? Because I can only do this for a fucking minute."
Of course, yes. And she's gonna go tap the nearest person and just warn them of something hanging around.
Who is that?
Whoever wants to pop up first.
Maria might already be awake, so
Oh.
she usually doesn't sleep long.
I just imagine Mario Rising Frankenstein's.
Exactly. She just rises from the waist, arms extended.
Since Clive has the alert feat, I assume he's a light sleeper, so he's probably awake whenever people start making noise in the camp.
Yeah. Shuffling, I'm sure, too.
Yeah.
Sybil's gonna, I figure we wake them up as, soundlessly as possible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she just kind of points out to where the shit is and doesn't say anything. She's just like,
This is here.
Yes is gonna squint into the darkness.
When it's clear that there's something there and everyone's being quiet, Namori's gonna cast Pass Without a Trace on everyone again.
Sweet.
And she's gonna go over to Kess and she's gonna touch her and give her Blessing of the Trickster. So she's got advantage on stealth checks.
Squints at Nave.
Just so you know, with Pass Without a Trace active, you will have a passive bonus to your stealth here. If you do active attempts at stealthing, it will slow down your travel time.
Okay, I mean, I don't figure that we're gonna be actively stealthy.
just letting you know. So if it's like, oh, we're all gonna stealth, your travel time cuts. Obviously, I think. Can't just we'll stealth.
But it also makes it so they can't be tracked.
Yeah, you have a passive benefit of Pass Without a Trace that makes you generally harder to follow or find.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't actively stealth, is what I'm saying, without cutting your travel time in half or doubling it.
Does it for the thing? Does it? Where is it?
Where's what? Oh,
How far away is it?
With you guys knowing what you're looking at, you don't need to make a check to really determine where it is or anything. It's about 60 feet off now, where Eunuch Joseph has reached his limit.
Okay.
And the sun is rising a bit more now, and you're able to see some details on this thing.
Oh.
Okay.
And it looks like if you took a person and flattened it like Play-Doh, which just makes it wider and thinner, and then pushed it over onto all fours with its limbs splayed out to the sides.
Oh, I don't like that.
Like a
it's
flat person lizard.
Kinda, yeah. Yeah.
A little flat bastard.
But it's far from little. And the face of it is... It has the structure of like a horse skull.
Oh god!
But it's not like a skull. It just has that kind of equine structure to it.
Are you sure this looks like a person at all?
Oh, in the light? No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
It was just in the dark that you were like, well, that has a weird face. And yeah, now this isn't a person.
It's a flat horse.
Now it's just horrifying.
Flat bears. They blow in the north wind. Yeah.
And when it moves erratically. There's nothing smooth about its movements. Like it shouldn't be able to move at all.
All right.
That's
so
also how
the
I feel
plan,
about horses.
the plan is to move in the direction to get away from this thing without fighting it, assuming they.
Yeah.
And if they can't, well, that's unfortunate. But Cass will smash.
Mm.
Okay. All of you make stealth rolls to get away from this thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We all get +10 and
And
Cass
Cass has advantage.
Oh,
She doesn't have
Um,
advantage. It cancels out her disadvantage. So she just rolls.
Oh, well, good.
Well, thank God, right?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pass Without a Trace.
God,
Yeah.
yes.
15.
+10 is 31 for Newport.
Minnow's ready.
Minnow's,
Minnow
Yeah,
is the sneakiest.
So you guys quietly gather your things, rolling up your bedrolls and tucking them close to your bodies, and you sidle off underneath the rock, just slowly pulling yourselves out as quietly as you can. Kess, you remain behind until the last possible moment because you just know you're going to be the loudest.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
That's just how it is.
But you guys all get away pretty quietly, staying close to the ground and creeping away, and it's only through the use of Kashak that Kess, you're able to take a moment to slip away. There is a well-timed moment where you decide your friends are far enough away, so Kashak lets loose one of its weird vulture noises. Choose from the variety of the soundboard. And you see the thing's head snap up to look at it, and you use this moment to pull yourself up and leave.
Sounds good. And
Um,
Kashak will play with it.
Okay.
In the sense that she takes wing and just kind of flies around it and will occasionally dive bomb, but
Yeah, maybe she gets some
mostly just-
tasty dead meat.
Oh my god.
mostly just distracts it long enough for everyone to get far enough away, and then flies high enough to use the low hanging clouds as cover and return to the party.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't take too long for the thing to get bored of Kashak. It's almost as if it knows it can find easier prey elsewhere.
That's unsettling, but okay.
Yeah.
Also, what does the thing look like up close? Because Kashak can
Oh, right. Up
tell.
Close. It continues to look like someone took a person and just smushed them flat, but its skin looks flaky and flabby both.
Gross.
Like it's missing things inside of it. And its arms are made up of just these long bones covered in that fleshy substance.
Gross.
But it just looks like a series of bones, kind of like bony spider legs.
Horse face.
Well, its face isn't very horse-like up close. It looks like someone took a person
and just
and
rolled
put
out their face.
Yeah, and put its face over a horse's skull.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's unpleasant. Yeah, it's not pleasant to look at.
Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys get away. You spend the next 8 hours traveling, closing another 16 miles, I'm assuming, keeping a normal pace.
Yeah.
Leaving you 2 days out of Hearthcross. Clive, you can do your survival check to find a camp.
Okay. Good.
Cass can help.
Yes. That gives you advantage, Clive.
There we go.
Oh,
Very good.
bit of a
Friendship.
So yeah, Clive, you look pretty lost for a moment. You don't see anything until Cass nudges you and points off to a small copse of trees. They're very dead looking, but there's enough to give some kind of cover and to possibly put your backs up against. So you lead the group over to that, and it's about 8 or 9 just dead trees. They're not very large. But it's enough to give you cover overhead. Mostly. It's
For a
Cass
second, Clive is tempted to climb one, but they look pretty dead, so
yeah.
it's like a risk it.
Cass is gonna take out a blanket in there. Hang on. Yeah, alright. She uses the blanket included with her bedroll to set up a windbreak between the trees and
Okay.
offer them some camouflage.
Okay. I'll let Clive's survival roll into that too.
Okay.
Since you helped with it. Yeah. So Clive and Kess, you guys set up a small like lean-to windbreak thing, giving everybody a bit of cover. You guys slip under it, buckling in for another thrilling night. Who's doing the watch? Same as last time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I believe it was Kess and Maria.
No, it's
yeah,
Navoria.
Or yeah,
Maria.
Kess.
Yep.
Yeah, Navoria and Maria. Go for it.
Okay.
Here we go. 17.
7.
Okay. Maria, you catch yourself kind of staring out,
Yeah.
as you
That
do.
rock.
Yeah. Damn. It's the shiniest thing here.
And you hear, Navori, you hear a shuffling come by.
Oh.
You're not sure if it's just the wind or something else.
Where nearby? Like, is it?
It sounds
behind
like it's coming. No, it sounds like it's coming from like right outside the trees in front of you. So you're pretty sure that you could just kind of keep looking and see if anything happens.
Yeah, she sort of, what she does is she sort of pokes Maria and she points, but
Okay.
she then puts a hand up to her lips like, don't make any sound.
Okay. Yeah. Maria looks where directed.
Okay.
They watching.
You guys watch and wait. And you hear the sound again, and you feel the trees around you move a little bit. And you're pretty sure it's just the wind.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's the end of your watch. I believe we have Kess and Clive now, with Kashak helping. All right.
Woken up, Navari just mentions that, I think it's the winds, but they heard something over
God damn.
Clive's on point.
Mm-hmm.
He can't see shit, but he can hear shit.
That's for Cat. That's for Kashak.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I heard a noise.
Yeah, it's the neighbor's dog.
Oh, okay. Clive, you spend some time listening, and you also hear this noise that Navori pointed out might just be the wind. Cass, you also hear it too, but it's much less localized. Clive, you're able to hear it that it is indeed it's outside of the copse of trees you're in. Kashak doesn't see anything.
Smell anything?
No.
Okay.
Smell is going to be difficult.
Clive's just gonna stay focused for now.
Yep.
Okay. You guys stop and are quiet. And you see something kind of breeze by. It's just a dark shape against the darkness. It's not like something is flying, it's like something is being pushed along on the wind. And you see this thing blow past. And that's the end of your watch.
Huh. Can we catch a glimpse of, like, anything? Could we roll, like, another perception check to see it as it was passing?
Yeah, you can do it at disadvantage. Or, yeah.
Well,
Damn.
let's see if Chuck sees anything.
Okay.
No.
Damn.
Nothing even to bother.
You find yourself concentrating a little too hard on trying to capture what it is, so you don't see anything. You know, like when you strain your eyes too hard to catch a detail and you just miss it entirely.
Mhm.
So you wake Sybil and Minnow up. You guys just gonna set your watch then?
Yeah.
Kiss lets them know that they saw something blow by, but couldn't see what it was.
It's probably just like a bat or something.
Well, do our best.
Yeah, a bat.
Please.
Hope. And Boon takes his place after Clive like shakes him awake.
Oh, groggy dog.
Pet, pet.
When Clive is, or when Boon is like dead asleep, he's a big like drooly mess. So he doesn't want to wake.
Relatable. All right. Disadvantage rolls from you guys and Boony Boom.
Okay.
Boon save the day.
Fantastic. Oh my god.
19.
I could have had a 14.
I could have had 11.
Wait, does Boone have disadvantage or advantage?
That's advantage. His
Okay,
advantage
yeah.
on hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Boom,
Well.
fine.
Save them again.
Let's be
Boon's
real. This is
pulling through.
Boon's watch shift. They're
Yeah.
just keeping him company.
Yeah, we're just accessories.
We just want to look important.
Boone hears that whipping noise of something on the wind. And you guys see Boone go alert. And this makes you go alert.
Yeah.
And you hear the distant sound of something slapping up against the trees.
Oh god.
It sounds like a wet blanket slapping up against trees.
Okay.
And you can't tell if it's getting closer or just sitting at the edge. But there's something right there, just out of sight. And we're gonna pick up there next weekend.
Ooh.
God.
Oh no.
There's gonna be some horrible undead human kite out there, I just know it.
It's like one of those splat things, only it got up and is just slapping.
If it's a kite, that's
God.
fine. Clive can just put holes in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
All right, Internet, we'll be back next weekend for another episode of Oh My God.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.